Всіх вітаємо, шановні учасники. Дякую, що доєдналися до нашої прямої трансляції. Всім тим, хто дивиться її в записі. Мене звати Дмитро Соколюк. Я є координатором спеціальних проєктів в мережі Education USA, консультаційних центрів. Отже, сьогодні ми маємо лекцію Dreams do come true, UA in the USA, Мрії, збуваються. І сьогодні в нас долучилася чарівна спікерка Аня Касьянова. Аня, дуже дякую, що змогли сьогодні приєднатися і виділили нам час, щоб розказати про свій досвід і свою історію. Хочу представити вас. Аня є випускницею Berea College, де навчалася за подвійною спеціальністю політологія та мир і соціальна справедливість. Вона активно займається дослідницькою та громадською діяльністю. Зокрема, працювала в організації Разом for Ukraine та бере участь у проєктах, присвячених громадській залученості, адвокації та соціальній справедливості. Під час навчання Аня також отримала грант та здобула професійний режисерський досвід у New York Film Academy. Я знаю, що, скоріш за все, дивляться нас також учасники наших програм, тому які хочуть якраз таки вступити до Berea College, і наші глядачі, хто просто завітали на трансляцію, їм буде надзвичайно цінно почути вашу історію. Тому ще раз дуже вдячні вам і дякуємо Америка Хаус Київ за те, що, як завжди, адмініструєте нашу трансляцію. Аня, будь ласка, the floor is yours.
Дуже дякую, мені дуже приємно бути тут. Я хочу перейти на англійську мову, якщо можна, тому що презентація в мене буде англійською. І давайте починати. Let's begin. So, hi everyone. My name is Anya, as I was already introduced. Thank you so much all for coming. So, I'm originally from Ukraine, but a few years ago, I was sitting exactly where many of you are right now, dreaming about studying in the United States. But also feeling unsure about whether it was truly possible for someone like me. So today I'm a graduate of Berea College, where I studied political science and peace and social justice. And in this presentation, I would love to share my journey from applying as an international student to studying in the US on a full scholarship and what I learned along the way. So let's jump right into it. So to let you know a little bit about me, I graduated high school when I was 16, and at 17, I moved to Czech Republic, believing that I would attend university there. So once I arrived, I studied Czech language and was also trying to apply to different universities there, passing exams and so on. But I realized something important there, that just because a path is available to you doesn't mean that it's the right one for you. So it just didn't feel like the right academic or personal fit for me, and I decided to start looking beyond Europe and began applying to American colleges. So my first acceptance was Adelphi University, which showed me that studying in the US was actually possible. And that's when I thought, if I can do this, maybe I should aim even higher. So I moved to Belgium as an au pair, where I learned Dutch and worked full-time and kept applying to American universities. I took the SAT, scored 1200, which was not a perfect score, definitely not Ivy League level, but I refused to let that discourage me. And so I continued to apply to different schools, and I was successful in many of those applications. I discovered Berea College because it's a no tuition promise school, which felt almost unreal to me at the time. So Berea at that time didn't have an online application system, so I applied entirely by mail. I printed all of my essays, test scores, documents, and physically sent everything across the ocean. One of the hardest parts of getting into Berea for me was writing an essay and also getting a recommendation letter. So my high school English teacher never written one before, so we learned the process together. And also writing college essays was completely new to me. I learned by watching college essay guide videos and reading publicly available essays from successful applicants to various schools like Harvard and other Ivy Leagues that were available online. Finally, decision letters started arriving, and I received acceptances from NYU, St. John's, Adelphi, several universities in the UK, also in Australia and New Zealand. But of course, I chose Berea College, and ultimately, it changed my life. So why did I choose Berea College? Let's talk about that. First of all, I got in contact with one of their students through Reddit, and he told me about how tight the community in Berea is, which sound very inspired to me. It's a small school, so the relationships that you get to build there with your professors and your peers is way more meaningful. The community at Berea is very supportive and they take it seriously. Not only does every student get a counselor or academic advisor, but every international student like myself gets 2 international advisors that help them deal with documents, social security, taxes, visa issues, getting a driver's license, and many other issues that you might face in a new country. So the student support and belonging was definitely one of the major things that attracted me to Berea. Of course, the other big important thing for me was the no tuition promise and various scholarships that also cover other costs like housing, meal plan, and insurance. If you know anything about the US, you know that insurance is also a big deal when you come to the US. And if you want to go to the doctor or to the dentist, you always have to have insurance. Moreover, at Berea, you must have a paid labor position. So you're also getting paid every month for additional expenses like clothes, extra food, and other necessities. Other grants and scholarships help me cover various trips around the country that I will talk about later. And also the internship office at Berea covers internships for students if their internship is otherwise unpaid. I will tell you about how I spent 9 months living in New York City at Berea's expense in a little bit. So the other thing that attracted my attention as a future civil servant was Berea's commitment to service and many volunteer opportunities that I could try to gain new skills and give back to the community that accepted me. These were just the few things that attracted me at first, but Berea has many other perks for students from different walks of life. For example, Berea offers an environmentally friendly townhouse-style residence option for married students and single parents, with free daycare center for when you're in class or at your labor position. So if you already have a kid or if you're married, Berea might also be a great fit for you. So let's talk about all of these various things. The question that burns many of us while applying to American colleges is, how can I afford it? So let me break this down to you. If you can get into Berea College, you don't have to pay tuition. So that huge expense is automatically off the table. Next, let's see what other perks does Berea offer. So the freshman clothing fund is $500. When I first arrived to Berea, I was ready for the winter. I had warm clothes that I brought with me from Ukraine, obviously, and a lot of students didn't. Some students who came from countries with a warmer climate have never had to deal with such things as winter boots or jackets. So to make it fair, Berea gave every incoming student, no matter where they're from, a budget of $500 to spend on winter clothes. For me, that just meant some new sweaters and boots, since I already had all the essentials, which was very nice. Then everybody at Berea gets a free laptop that you get to keep as well. Everyone has received a brand new Dell laptop upon arrival that we get to keep after graduation. Unfortunately, I lost mine, but I never used it anyway since I had my own laptop at the time. But rest assured that you'll be able to complete your coursework even if you don't already have a laptop of your own. So some of the things that were more specific to me and my experience at Berea, keep in mind everything is very individual here. So my labor earnings were about $400 a month. I worked at the CELTS office, which I'll talk about later, marketing department, library, and in the dance department. So my earnings varied by semester depending on what labor position I had at the time and how many hours a week did I work. However, I estimated that I was earning around $400 that allowed me to cover all of my expenses. So the next thing I noted here is the Discovery Fund of $500 that allowed me to go to Washington, D.C. and see their numerous museums. It was a grant that I received. It was a great weekend, great trip, fully covered by Berea. The next, and a very big thing, my sophomore year, I got a special grant that amounted to approximately $15,000 that I will tell you about a little bit later. And as for internships, so I already mentioned the internship office and the opportunity to get paid through Berea for an internship if you're doing in another organization. So in my case, Berea offered around $10,000 for me to do 2 internships at Razom for Ukraine, a nonprofit in New York that helps Ukraine with various humanitarian assistance programs. So that was great. And of course, I had a great time going to different paid conferences in many states across the US. So due to my expansive curriculum and academic interests, I was able to attend conferences on many different topics in different universities. I've been to Princeton University. Let me show you some pictures here. So this is me at the National Conference for Student Leadership in Florida. And here I am at the O4U Marketing Conference in New York. This is Niagara Falls. So I actually went to Niagara University for an annual National Peace and Social Justice Studies Conference at Niagara University. So that was really fun. And here's Princeton that I got to go to as a Bonner Scholar. So this was a Bonner Scholar Summer Leadership Institute, and we got to see Princeton University. So that was great. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about the life at Berea and how everything works. So let's start with all of the various outdoor activities and opportunities that Berea provides. So Berea is very rich in culture and activities that it offers students. The college's location is in the middle of the Appalachian Mountains, and it's perfect for outdoor adventures such as hiking, camping, rock climbing, horseback riding, and luckily you can do all of those things for free thanks to the Outdoor Adventure Center that frequently organizes free trips to various outdoor activities. So I went on quite a few myself: rock climbing, horseback riding, skiing and snowboarding in Indiana, and kayaking. In Berea, we also celebrate Mountain Day every year, where students get up very early and hike to the pinnacles to greet the sunrise. Later throughout the day, there are traditional Mountain Day celebrations and festivities in the mountains where you get to play, learn about campus clubs and organizations, and also watch dance group perform and just chill in the hammock with your friends. All classes and labor are canceled on Mountain Day. I should have checked what day it was. I forgot. It was sometime during October, I think. So Berea also offers a variety of opportunities to see the US, Kentucky, and the world. I've already mentioned the conferences I've been to, but there's also a lot of scholarships that you can use to travel, like the Discovery Grant that I used to go to DC, or simply just explore different things. So later I will tell you about another scholarship that I got that let me spend a whole summer in New York City studying in the New York Film Academy. But for now, let me tell you about the study abroad thing. If your major or second major is Spanish, German, or French, you can go study abroad for a whole semester for free, exploring the culture and language that you're learning and practicing with native speakers. I was not a Spanish major or a language major, so I didn't get to experience this, but it sounds like a really cool experience. Some of my friends have gone to South American countries like Peru and Argentina. So they shared that it was a great experience for them. And as a member of clubs and organizations on campus, you can also come along on various trips and retreats, which is super cool. I was a member of many organizations on campus that enriched me culturally and helped me gain leadership and organizational skills. I was a member of African Student Association, Asian Student Union, Campus Activity Board, Arab Student League, and also Student Government Organization. And I even served as the freshman senator in the Student Government Organization. So that was really fun. Worth mentioning, here is the free gym in the middle of campus and an indoor pool. You can take swimming and diving classes or join the swim team. You can even work as a lifeguard at the pool for your labor position. For those of you who play any sports, there are many teams at Berea that frequently go to compete in different schools in and out of state. So that is that. And also I wanted to mention all of these various things that you can try for your classes and extracurricular activities. So as a liberal arts school, Berea offers a perfect ground for your artistic expression, both academically and as extracurricular activities. The college offers music classes and choir, instrument lessons, and band, as well as music minors, such as electronic music minor, musical theater minor. Also, live music events are popular at the college, some of which even give you credit for attending. So the bands and choir give concerts at least twice a semester. If you're interested in art, drama, or film, Berea also offers courses and extracurricular activities on that. I took a few film production classes myself. I wanted to become a film production minor, but unfortunately, I didn't have time to complete all of the required courses. But it was still a great experience. I even participated in some theater plays because my roommate was a theater major, and she actually works now as a set designer in New York. So that's great. And for those of you who would like to try something new, Student Craft Center offers labor positions in weaving and the ceramics apprenticeship program. So you can try ceramics as well. And if you do dance, if you're into dance, you won't be disappointed with the options here. Berea has a dance minor and 8 different dance groups that you can join as either a class or just a club. So I actually assisted with the dance program for my labor position. I was a photographer for them. And one of my best friends was in like 5 different dance groups. And to tell you that they did a very great job performing every semester, it was wonderful to see. So I tried a lot of different things in college, and some of those things were new to me. It was all very interesting. When it comes to things that you can do at Berea College, there's a lot of cool options everywhere. So personally, I tried all of these things: photography, scuba diving. I actually took a credit class my last semester at scuba diving, and you can also receive a certificate if you stay and pass a test in the summer. I didn't stay for the summer, so I didn't get a certificate, but I could have. It's an option there. So I tried photography as my secondary labor position in the marketing department and the dance departments, like I mentioned. And also a lot of opportunities for developing your leadership, your presentation skills, debate skills at the student government organization. Like I've mentioned, I was a freshman class senator. And I also completed the leadership training in Berea, and also that allowed me to go to that national conference for student leadership that I mentioned before, the one in Florida. So that was really cool. And of course, volunteering through the Center for Excellence and Learning Through Service and being a Bonner Scholar. That was a huge deal for me. I was also working at the library as one of my labor positions. So I hosted and led a book club as part of my secondary labor position at the library in the college. And of course, filmmaking. So I took credit classes in film production, Asian cinema, politics in Hollywood, which was kind of a political science / film studies class, which was super cool for me as a political science major. And as an option, I didn't include this in the slide, but I wanted to tell you that if you're into agriculture or natural resources, you can first of all major in agriculture and natural resources, you can minor in it, and you can work and attend different classes based on that in beekeeping, farming, and animal science. You can even work on a Berea College farm. So the farm at the college, they produce a lot of produce themselves, and you can work on that farm. You can work with animals if you're interested in that sort of thing. The class on beekeeping seemed very interesting. I didn't take it, but it sounds cool. So as I've mentioned before, Berea College has a labor program. So everybody on campus has a job. Everybody has a labor position. It starts at 10 hours a week. That's the commitment there initially. But you can also take more hours in the future. You know, you can take a secondary labor position, which is another 5 hours to your schedule. So why is it good? First of all, because it not only do you earn money for extra expenses like clothes and food while you're in college, but you also graduate with 4 years of work experience and real life skills to show off to future employers. So that's a real CV hack. I feel like that really helped me find a job right after graduation. So the program usually places first years in areas with the highest needs, which is facilities management and dining services. I got lucky. I chose Bonner Scholars. So Bonner Scholars is a program that allows you to show your commitment to service and help out the community in Berea and beyond. So I'm also mentioning here on this slide that I worked for 20 hours a week my senior year, which is true, but that was not for a single labor position. It was divided between two different labor positions. So yeah, it's up to you if you want to take the second labor position, that way you can earn more. And here on the slide, you can also see 1,500 is the number of campus jobs that are available for students. And 91% of students who accredited skills they learned in their labor position as supporting academic development, which is great. Like I said, it's a huge life hack for your CV, for your future. So let's move on to my labor position, my primary position these last 4 years. So the Bonner Scholars is a program at Berea, and it has presence in other universities as well. It started off in New Jersey. They're located right near the Princeton University. So that's why I went to that conference with them as well. So I applied to Berea. I applied to Bonner Scholars before I got to Berea because I was interested in community service. To be honest, I mostly just applied because I didn't want to work in facilities management, but it ended up being the best decision I could have made because being a Bonner and working at KILTS has given me so much experience. I worked as a program manager at KILTS, Center for Excellence in Learning Through Service. I was a program manager of the operations team. So that was my primary labor position at Berea for the majority of my time there. In this role, I assisted with logistics and background work for 7 community service programs and also 2 specific initiatives. So during my time in the KILTS office, I volunteered with Habitat for Humanity, which is a big organization. Some of you might have already heard about it. I also created and executed educational programs for middle school kids as a Bonner Scholar. And I assisted in planning and execution of 2 hunger initiatives per year. They were raising money for the local food bank. And we also went to Eastern Kentucky to provide relief assistance after a huge flood in 2022 that devastated a small town. And we also did so many more things. So I organized events, trained in leadership, learned how to provide first aid, and even received a Red Cross CPR certificate, all due to my involvement at KILTS as my labor position and also as Bonner Scholar service requirement. So that was a great experience. Of course, there are other teams that you could be a part of at KILTS. They have 8 different service programs. You can work with elderly, for example, at Adopt a Grandparent. They frequented the elderly home and provided help and also created programming for them. So there's a lot of options for you to choose from when it comes to KILTS. You can also just volunteer there if that's something that you don't want to do as your labor position, but you want to try. You can always volunteer with any of those programs. So here's a picture of me when I facilitated the environmental transition required for the KILTS office to receive a green office plaque. So this is something that I did for the KILTS office. And also here you can see at the end of my junior year, it marked the end of my cohorts and mine Bonner requirement. So we all had to give our senior Bonner presentations of learning to reflect on how these 4 years have affected us and share what we learned along the way. It was really fun and very nostalgic. Also on the left here, this is me giving my presentation. So after that, I worked at the Hutchins Library. So that marked as the Bonner requirement completed for me. So I had another opportunity to have a labor position someplace else at Berea. So I wanted to also let you know about the housing options at Berea because some of you might be interested. For the majority of my time at Berea, I lived in Danforth, this building here in the picture. It is one of the nicest dorms, in my opinion, and I've tried like 5 of them, plus Eco Village. So there is a kitchen in the basement. There is a piano and a ping pong table on the 3rd floor. There are 2 laundry rooms. There's a maintenance closet on every floor. And on the 2nd and the 3rd floor, there are two sides. So one side is for boys and the other side is for girls. But on the first floor and the floor zero, there's a gender inclusive housing. So guys and girls live together. On the second and third floor, they are divided between one side is female only and the other side is male only. So how does that work in terms of security? We each have our individual identity cards, IDs, and security on campus is a priority for the college and the public safety office. That's why everyone on campus has these ID cards that open not only those doors that are meant to be open, but also they let you into dining. You cannot get into someone else's dorm unless you live there or have their ID physically on you. So once you're in the dorm, your ID can only let you on your side of the dorm, male, female, or only into your assigned room. So you cannot get into somebody else's room or somebody else's side of the building. So now I wanted to tell you about a great opportunity at Berea, which I got to experience. My last semester at Berea, after I turned 24, I was able to apply for Eco-Village housing, which was honestly the best experience ever. Eco-Village was built for non-traditional students, students over 24, married students, or students with kids, or any combination of the three. They provide free daycare, like I said, for students with kids, and it's relatively close to the local school. Since I was neither married nor had kids, I waited until I was 24 to apply for Eco-Village housing. The privileges I was granted was worth the wait. A 2-story house occupied by just me and my roommate, our own kitchen, bathroom, and each of us had our own room. That is a privilege at Berea because any other student shares a room with a roommate 95% of the time. You'll get a roommate unless they get a special permit from their therapist that would suggest a single room requirement for the student's individual mental health needs, which is also something that you can apply for. So unless you have that paper or unless you qualify for Eco-Village, you will have a roommate at Berea College, which is also a great experience to have. I got to meet a lot of people, and sometimes it's not going to be the best experience. Sometimes it's going to be great. Not every roommate is going to be your best friend, but it's still fun to meet different people, see what their majors are, listen to them talk about what they do, and maybe join some clubs that they recommend. It's a good experience to try. So the only other option for you if you do not want to have a roommate is to apply to James Hall, where 3 apartment mates live together in a co-joined space with a shared bathroom, each of them having their own room. So the kitchen and the laundry room are on the floor, still outside of that apartment, available to everyone in the building. I lived there my first semester, freshman year, and it wasn't so bad. It was okay. Of course, it was peak COVID season back then, and I didn't have any apartment mates in that living space with me. So that was definitely a little bit different from what you might experience. But yeah, that was about housing. Now let's talk about dining. So like I mentioned before, your ID card lets you into the dining hall, and that's how you get all of your meals. Not all of your meals. You can, of course, purchase food someplace else. There are some restaurants and coffee shops around Berea, the city. And of course, you're welcome to go someplace else, like Richmond is the closest town. And also a lot of people go to Lexington on weekends and get a lot of their food from there. But me and my friends usually went to dining. So dining food is not the best, to be honest, but it's a great way to catch up with your friends after a long day of classes and labor. So here's me and some of my friends here at dining. I'm also vegetarian, partially. I don't eat meat or meat or chicken. I eat fish. And dining didn't really have a lot of fish, maybe like once a week. But other than that, it was pretty okay on like vegetarian options. There were a lot of plant-based options like plant burgers and stuff like that. So it's okay. And it's free. So, why not? And sometimes they would even host different festivities like special Thanksgiving dinner or special Christmas dinner if you're staying for the holidays. Maybe like once a year they would have cheesecake and different types of chocolate cake or something else. They always have ice cream, which is something that a lot of my friends were excited about, but I don't really like ice cream, so I didn't care. They almost always have Nutella, which is also great. So honestly, it's like an 8 out of 10 experience. But of course, you're welcome to buy other things and eat your own food. There's a kitchen in every dorm. You can prep meals, do whatever you want to do with that. So now I would like to talk about the academics at Berea. So for me, taking many different classes on the variety of topics and learning something new every day was the best part of my Berea experience. And I think that's what I'm going to remember most from this whole time. So I took classes in a lot of different topics like African traditional religion, foreign policy analysis, French music and American government, Asian cinema and French philosophy, Chinese. I had a class in community organizing and peace building, which was great. I also took yoga and scuba diving, which I told you about before, and they were all fascinating to me. They were all pretty great. So the yoga and scuba diving, just quickly, I wanted to mention that that was a health and human performance requirement. So you have to take at least 2 credits worth of health and human performance classes. So it's kind of like a requirement for you to move at least a little bit and engage in some kind of active physical activity throughout your time at Berea. For me, that was yoga and the scuba diving class. Some of my friends took pickleball, swimming. There's a variety of those classes that you can choose from. So I graduated magna cum laude, which is the second highest honor. I had a 3.88 GPA, and I double majored in political science and peace and social justice, as you already know. And I also had a minor in Asian studies, which honestly just so happened to happen. I don't know. I took Chinese just out of curiosity. I wanted to see if I can learn Chinese. Spoiler, I already forgot everything that I've learned. So I also took a lot of Asian classes that were related to my political science coursework because it overlapped a little bit. Yeah, so I ended up with an Asian studies minor. I don't know how that happened, but it was fun. And here's an example of my foreign policy analysis class where I had to, we had to do like a simulation exercise. So the point of the exercise was to introduce us to the concepts and roles in a Security Council meeting, also teach political strategy, policymaking. So yeah, you can take a look at that and maybe read some of that. So each student had a role to play in the simulation, and everyone drafted a policy proposal to the president, and a position memo. So that was a foreign policy brief as a final task. I was Attorney General, and these are the kinds of exercises and activities that I like the most in my political science coursework. So for me, learning while actively participating in practicing this skill is the best way to attain and retain the information. So this exercise is the one that I remember most vividly from my time at Berea because of how engaging it was. There were also very fun exercises and activities that we did in my other classes. Like, here's another class that I really enjoyed. This was a French class where I showed everyone my favorite French musical, Notre Dame de Paris, and made a whole 20-page lyrical analysis paper on it. So that was really fun. Yeah. Okay, so we've come around to the summertime. And during the summer, you have a few options here. For my first summer in Berea, I chose to stay on campus and work and also complete one of my Bonner Summer of Service requirement. So as a Bonner scholar, I had to complete at least 2 summers of service. What that meant is that I had to work in some kind of service-related organization, maybe a nonprofit. So my first summer, I stayed at Berea and worked on campus in this shop that engaged in a lot of interesting service activities. So you, as non-Bonners, have 3 options: work, travel, or do an internship. You can either stay on campus and work, in which case you will be paid more than a normal school year wage. So that's great. Or you can go back home and find a summer job if that's what you want. Keep in mind that staying on campus during the summer will cost you extra. and you'll have to give up a chunk of your earnings just for housing and meals during the summer, because that's not covered by your usual scholarship that you get all year. And travel home is also at your own expense, but in case of bereavement leave, you could get assistance from the Campus Christian Center, which I also used. And you can also travel for class or study abroad at your own expense. So there are a lot of classes in different majors and minors that you can travel abroad for. So for example, in May term, they have a lot of that. Around April, May, you will find out about that. And there are also summer classes that you can take abroad, credit classes. Most of the students, however, they find an internship for the summer. So if you submit all the necessary confirmations to the office of the internships by a certain deadline, around mid-April, you can get your entire summer funded by Berea College. That's how I did my 2 summers of internship in New York City and lived there for free for 6 months. 3 months in 1 year and 3 months next year. There's also a secret third option, or fourth, which is to apply for the Sloan Shelton Independent Arts and Humanities Grant at Berea. So if you apply by the deadline, you can pursue your artistic dream throughout the summer. That's how I got to go to New York Film Academy and get a documentary filmmaking certificate during the summer of 2022. As you can see here, I am on Brooklyn Bridge, smiling, holding my New York Film Academy certificate diploma and the Ukrainian flag. And also in this second picture, I am actually at a Ukrainian restaurant near Razom for Ukraine office. And that's how I found out about Razom for Ukraine, is by doing this New York Film Academy experience. So I did 2 short documentaries on the Ukrainian diaspora in New York and how they assisted Ukrainians and Ukraine when the war started. So the organization has existed since 2014. They have been assisting Ukraine from the US since the Revolution of Dignity. But they specifically picked up and started doing a lot of really cool work in 2022. And so when I first came to New York, I wanted to do something because the war has already begun, and I was really distressed about it because I had all of my relatives in Ukraine, obviously, my entire life. So I wanted to do something related to Ukraine in my New York Film Academy experience. So I contacted a whole bunch of people that were doing different activism and advocacy work in New York. And I interviewed 2 of them for 2 of my short documentaries. And that's how I found out about Razom for Ukraine, because they both worked there. So at the time, I filmed them going around different protests in New York that were, advocating for Ukraine. So that was one of my movie, Diaspora. And the other one was the volunteers experience, the Razom for Ukraine and Beyond experience in helping Ukraine from the US in New York. And that's how I found out about the organization, like I said. And the next summer, I decided to apply for an internship with them. I went to the internship office and to my Bonner mentor, and I asked, hey, can I do this? This is really relevant to my political science career, my peace and social justice career. This is a nonprofit organization, so I can do that as my Bonner requirement for summer of service. And it is an organization that I can do an internship with. So it covered 4 different things for me, which was great. So I did that 2 summers in a row. The first year at Razom for Ukraine, I did a advocacy team internship. So in advocacy team, we did a lot of different advocacy related work for Ukraine, and also organized events in DC. There is this annual event for Ukrainian advocacy on Capitol Hill. So yeah, that was great. And then the next year that was summer of 2024, last summer, that I got to do an internship with Razom's culture team, specifically the cinema division. So because I had an experience with New York Film Academy before, they took me to their cinema team, and me and my mentor assisted with different film festivals, Ukrainian films being broadcasted, shown in New York. Also met a few really cool people, directors. We assisted different colleges with their work, what they do on their campuses through the Ukraine on Campus program, where we sent out a bunch of DVDs with 20 Days in Mariupol, the documentary that won an Oscar. So there's a lot of different things that you can do in organizations that you work for your internship experience. It all depends on what you want to do, of course, for your profession and what your major is. But for me, all of those experiences were somewhat related to not only my country, but also to my majors. So lastly, I wanted to talk to you about possibly spending a winter at Berea. You can stay on campus during winter break as well. And if you can't afford going home, that's a good option because the tickets from the US to Ukraine are very expensive. So just like in the summer, it costs a little bit extra, but you get to also earn more in your labor position because the wages are also higher during winter and other breaks. So if you decide to stay for the winter or summer break, you will earn a little bit more than throughout your school year, usually. So I stayed on campus twice for the winter. I worked as a dorm RA, resident advisor, for 2 winters. And a lot of my international friends also stayed on campus with me. So it was really fun going to different coffee shops, celebrating Christmas and New Year's together. And of course, it's a fun time and worth trying at least once. Also, the campus is very beautiful in the winter, so I highly recommend. And that is it for my main part of my presentation. I hope I didn't go too fast and some of this information actually retained. But this is time for you to ask me questions if you have any. I will be very happy to welcome all of your questions.
Єй! Аню, ми дуже дякуємо вам за таку щиру і відверту презентацію про ваш досвід. Я думаю, всім вступникам, хто планує вступати в Berea College, де, я думаю, в принципі, в коледж у Сполучених Штатах, дуже важливо було почути перспективу студентки, яка вже пройшла цей шлях від адмішену до випуску. Так що дуже дякую, що поділилися такою особистою персоналізованою історією. І в нас є декілька питань від студентів, які дуже часто повторюються насправді. Ви можете почуватись комфортно відповідати будь-якою мовою, але деякі питання українською. Тому, якщо б ви не проти, що для вас було найбільшим викликом під час подачі анкети? Студенти дуже часто питають, з чим виникають найбільші труднощі і щоб вони правильно розподіляли свої сили.
Так, дуже хороше питання. Насправді дуже важливо, коли ти подаєш анкету, щоб всі поля, все було заповнено правильно, тому що навіть якщо хоч якогось документу в тебе не буде, твою анкету навіть не розглянуть. Тому завжди перевіряйте. По-перше, це мій самий перша порада для вас. Це перевіряти, чи всі ви документи відіслали, що треба. В моєму випадку це було прям дуже максимально фізичному плані. Мені треба було перерахувати кожен папірчик, який я відправила, тому що це було by mail. Це не просто було там анкета на сайті. Да? Тому мені треба було дуже все дивитися. Що було з такого challenging? Як я вже казала, це есе, тому що я не знала, як писати college essays. В принципі, я не знала, що це таке. Я думаю, в принципі, українці, які тільки випустилися зі школи, теж не знають особливо про це. Нас цьому якби не вчили в Україні. І дуже мало хто знає, як це робити. Тому для мене було дуже важливим той момент, що я питала у людей у різних в соціальних мережах, в тому числі в Reddit. Там є сторінки, де прям люди обговорюють свої college essays і кидають examples, які там виграшні були есе там в Гарварді чи десь ще в якомусь Ivy League College. Тобто це есе, які дійсно пройшли, люди, які пройшли в ці університети. Ось, тому передивіться оці різні examples в цьому плані. І також подивіться, дуже рекомендую відео College Essay Guide. В нього був раніше YouTube, я не знаю, чи він ще викладає відео, але я у нього всі поради брала на YouTube. Ну, тобто, в мене не було якихось знайомих, тому я все дивилася чисто в інтернеті. І ось у нього дуже багато теж відео з порадами з приводу есе. Потім ще було challenging трошки з-за того, що я була за кордоном на той період, коли я подавалася, я була в Бельгії, і мені треба було просити мою маму, щоб вона йшла в мою школу, там, де я вчилася, і просила у моєї вчительки з англійської мови, моєї класної керівниці, зробити мені recommendation letter. І да, це було трошки awkward. Але вона справилася, я думаю, добре. Так.
Так, дякую. І дійсно, ну, направляти заявку через платформу то одна справа, а відправляти по пошті і дивитися, що, як ви казали, перераховувати всі пунктики це дійсно челенджінг. І дякую також, що поділилися конкретними ресурсами, де наші глядачі або ті, хто дивляться цю трансляцію в записі, можуть скористатися. Також ви можете скористатися, шановні глядачі, нашими послугами Education USA. Ми з радістю допоможемо вам з есе. І, будь ласка, слідкуйте і за нашими новинами. В нас регулярно відбудеться набор на когортні програми, де ми також вас в рамках есе підготуємо. Тому, будь ласка, слідкуйте і за нашими ресурсами, і ми є ваш головний ресурс. Отже, і ще одне питання в чаті від пані Соломії. Аню, що, на вашу думку, було вирішальним у вашій заявці для зарахування?
Думаю, так важко сказати, тому що я не працювала в admissions office. До речі, в Берії можна працювати студентам навіть в admissions, тому якщо ви хочете, можете спробувати. Я думаю, що досвід, activities, які в мене були в школі і beyond, теж повпливали на це. В мене був про це момент, який я не проговорила. Ось, зараз я розповім вам. Тобто в мене був які extracurriculars. В мене було волонтерство, volunteering. Потім я була президенткою дебатного клубу в школі останній рік. Of course, я вже розказала, що я їздила як au pair в Бельгію і вивчала голландську мову. Тобто такий international experience їм, мені здається, теж сподобався. І в Чехії я прожила 10 місяців, вивчаючи чеську мову. І також на момент подачі в Berea College я вже була European Youth Parliament member, тобто це європейський парламент для молоді. І я досі там member. Тому, можливо, це повпливало. І ще я зазначила, що я приймала участь у програмі Flex, і я дійшла до фіналу, але не поїхала по програмі, просто дійшла до фіналу, тобто, не знаю. І, до речі, цікавий якби personal anecdote, що в мене в останньому раунді Flex дівчинка, яка була зі мною в команді, там останній раунд, це там декілька людей в групі в командну роботу роблять. І дівчинка, яка була зі мною, яка виграла тоді замість мене, ну, яка виграла і поїхала в Америку, ми з нею бачилися в Америці, в Нью-Йорку, на якомусь івенті Івана Купала в Нью-Йорку, коли я була з Разом for Ukraine працювала. І ми з нею побачилися, і ну, так прикольно, що хоч якби вона пройшла тоді, а я не пройшла, і ми все одно в одному місті зустрілися, що так склалася наша доля, тому це було цікаво. Так що так, щоб відповісти на ваше питання, я думаю, різні активності, extracurricular activities – це дуже важливо. У вас повинна бути якась чітка соціальна позиція. Я робила акцент дуже на те, що я хочу вивчати політологію, тому що я хочу працювати в Міністерстві закордонних справ, тому що мене дуже хвилює доля України, і я хочу в цій соціальній сфері працювати, допомагати своїй країні. Тому для мене ось волонтерство і знання мов було дуже важливою рисою, мабуть, в моїй анкеті. І саме ось ці соціальні позиції, вони також допомагають просто відлічитися від інших, щоб admissions в коледжі зразу зрозуміли, що це людина, яка знає, чого вона хоче, у якої є якась мета, якась конкретна позиція, яку вони несуть в соціум, і що цей коледж їм не просто так потрібен для якоїсь selfish, да, мети, а ще вони хочуть щось зробити конкретне, корисне для соціуму, для своєї країни або просто для інших людей.
Дякую дуже. І історія про зустріч зі студенткою, з якою ви разом грали на грі на третьому етапі флексу, теж такий вау, який тісний світ. Насправді Америка, величезна країна, і зустрілися. Та і насправді це теж говорить про можливості, що ніколи ваші шанси, якщо кудись не прийшли, щось не пішло, бачите, завжди є можливості, і ви можете завжди їх знайти. Дуже дякую, що на це наголосили. Це дійсно дуже важливо почути нашим глядачам і учасникам програм. Ще одне питання від Соломії в чаті бачу. Аню, якою найновішою річчю про Berea College можете поділитися? Щось, можливо, що недавно сталося. Планую туди подаватися, тому б хотіла дізнатися більше.
Мгм. Класне питання. Насправді мені було так. I was a little jealous із-за того, що всі отримують цю можливість, а я вже тоді випустилась. У нас побудувалася нова будівля в коледжі. Це буде будівля, в якій, ну, вже не буде, вже вона стоїть. Будівля саме для таких людей, які вивчають або film studies, або journalism, там маркетинг, все таке. Там дуже крута новітня технологія, там всюди стоять круті комп'ютери, можна практикувати там, робити різні круті кліпи. Там є студія звукозапису, тобто навіть можна працювати як labor position, можна працювати на Berea радіо. І це теж дуже круто, по-моєму. В мене одна подружка робила ось цей останній семестр клас по broadcasting journalism, і ми там записували разом якийсь типу подкаст-інтерв'ю в цій студії. Це було дуже круто, тому що, по-перше, це класний експірієнс для людей, які цим цікавляться, і можна попрактикувати на професійному equipment, да, всі ці теми. По-друге, просто цікаво вивчити щось нове. Коли я брала клас по filmmaking, там теж була одна студія з комп'ютерами, де нам давали доступ до Adobe, всіх оцих програм для редагування, але це було взагалі в іншій будівлі, це був residence hall, підвал в дормі, да, в гуртожитку. І це було не так круто, як оця новітня побудована будівля, там, де прям в студії цілі звукозапису, студії з комп'ютерами. І так, це було дуже круто. Що ще нового такого? Навіть зараз не можу пригадати. Що нового зробили? Мені здається, ось коли я випускалася, вже стало більше класний дайнінг. Вже більше почали туди завозити різних продуктів, різної їжі, якої раніше не було. Можливо, це тому, що я вже випускалася, і мені здавалося все дуже крутим знову, тому що я дуже буду сумувати по цьому. І я вже сумую, можу сказати це на 100%. Тому так, якщо вам цікаві такі речі, я дуже рекомендую спробувати.
Так, дякую вам за апдейт. Соломія, дякую за питання. Знаєте, ці приколи, коли випускаєшся зі школи і універу, дивишся, що вони закупили нову апаратуру, зробили ремонт, все помінялося. Але це трошки може бути обідно, розумію. Але насправді, це окей, історія з кожним поколінням все змінюється, все стає краще і краще. Тому хто буде вступати, у вас теж щось буде по-своєму змінюватися після того, як ви випуститесь, якщо ви удачно вступите. Тому це абсолютно нормальна історія. Дякую, що її поділилися. І дуже ще останнє, якщо в чаті ще не буде питань, тому що в нас час вже трошки піджимає, але дуже хочу заадресити одне питання, яке часто зустрічається у вступників. Ми трошки з вами говорили перед початком трансляції, і якщо ви не проти, я поділюся, що Аня казала, що дуже багато різних культур було присутньо, тобто з різних країн було багато студентів, і в нас студенти часто питають, а що найскладніше в культурній адаптації, коли ви потрапляєте в таку нову середу?
Гарне питання. Я не думаю, що є щось в цьому складне, як на мене, тому що я завжди була дуже open-minded person, да, ну, тобто все нове я сприймаю доволі швидко і просто, і весело, з гумором, з почуттям якогось curiosity. Ну, тобто це треба все навчитися сприймати з дуже відкритою душею, з відкритим розумом і розуміти, що навіть якщо щось вас дуже бентежить, чи лякає, чи щось здається якимось не таким новим, можливо, навіть з чимось ви не згодні будете. It's okay, але треба навчитися до цього спокійно ставитися. Ну, тобто, весь досвід – це хороший досвід, так? І, звичайно, в моєму випадку мої найліпші друзі дали мені стільки experience, стільки класного нового і інформації, і досвіду, якою я взагалі, мені здається, в класі би не вивчила. Тобто просто мати друзів в Берії – це вже як додатковий educational experience, саме із-за цього культурного ексчейнджу. І мій ліпший друг із Ливану, тобто я багато дізналася про Middle Eastern countries, Muslim culture і все таке. Потім з Либії одна із моїх ліпших подружок, і подружка із South Africa. Дуже багато в мене друзів з Африки також було, з Азії. Я навіть працювала і тусувалася з African Student Association, Asian Student Union, і була в борді там однієї з leaders of Arab Student League. Тому в мене був такий прям максимально міжкультурний досвід. Дуже мало людей з України. Я б зробила прям свою якусь організацію, якби було більше людей з України. Була тільки я і ще одна дівчинка, і весь цей час, коли я організовувала різні івенти на підтримку України на кампусі, я це робила одна або з підтримкою моїх інтернаціональних друзів, тобто це люди, які взагалі ніякого дотучення до України не мають. Було дуже багато країн з Казахстану, з Росії, з там Узбекистану, ну, тобто люди, які говорили російською, але із-за того, що в мене вже була своя компанія друзів з інших країн, я з ними не спілкувалася. І оцей останній рік вони організували свою club society на кампусі, щось там пов'язане з російською культурою. Я не знаю, я сильно не дивилася туди, але дуже рекомендую всім українцям, хто поступить в Берію, робити свої Ukrainian clubs або щось в такому роді. Мені дуже хотілося це зробити, коли я була на кампусі, але не було так багато людей з України, як би хотілося. Тому я дуже рада бути тут і розповідати вам про цей коледж, щоб якомога більше українців подавалося в Berea College.
Дякую, нам дуже приємно чути про вашу таку ціль, і ми її абсолютно підтримуємо. Вступайте в Berea College, подавайтеся і в інші коледжі. Студенти, якщо вам треба допомога, звичайно, звертайтеся до нас. Ну і якщо у вас когось залишиться питання, можливо, саме до пані Ані, то ви можете написати нам, зв'язатися, ми передамо питання. Якщо пані Аня буде не проти, то ми можемо, звичайно, вас передати ваше питання. Отже, насправді я б ще говорив дуже довго і задавав би багато питань, але час, на жаль, на сьогодні на трансляцію підходить до кінця. Пані Аня, я вам дуже дякую за те, щоб сьогодні приєдналися до нас і розказали свою персональну історію. З нами була Анна Касьянова, випускниця Berea College. Будь ласка, слідкуйте за нашими ресурсами, і хочу також подякувати людям за камерою Америка Хаус, які сьогодні допомагають нам адмініструвати цю чарівну трансляцію. Дуже вам дякую. Шановні учасники, на сьогодні це все. Будь ласка, залишайтеся з нами на зв'язку, слідкуйте за нашими ресурсами і бажаємо вам гарного вечора. До скорої зустрічі. До побачення.